just took place a couple days ago, and I was supposed to do this a couple days ago. Keep in mind, but this whole week I've been busy, playing for my mom's birthday, which happens to be tomorrow. So, I'm getting this out the way, and then Thursday I'll release another video and maybe stream because I want to try streaming at least once. I don't know what I'll stream, but it's like fuck it. I need something to do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do some winners. I think only one loser, and we're just gonna mash them up with people I think that they should fight next. Oban Elliott had a good win, good overhand knockout. I forgot against Basel Hafez. I'm pretty sure it was against, and he's someone I'm really big on. Great prospect, a lot of power, a lot of good grappling, and I think he deserves something a little tougher. Basel Hafez isn't bad at all, but he's not really tough. I want to see him against like a veteran like Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby loves the war. He has good boxing, good grappling, and I think he matches up very well with Oban Elliott. I want to see how he does in different matchups, and this will get him a lot closer to the rankings. A lot closer to the rankings. He'll be just outside the rankings, if I'm not mistaken. Nicholas Dalby is a good veteran. He has really good wins. Oban Elliott needs that huge challenge because, like I said, Basel Hafez, he's a good fighter, but he's not proven himself really. Nicholas Dalby has gone to war with like Bomb Theme. He's done a lot of good stuff, and I think Oban needs to really just get a different stylistic matchup against a tough vet that really knows what he's doing. And like I said, this will put him right outside the rankings. I think he'll be happy with this, and I wouldn't doubt he's probably gonna fight in like February, just to try to get on like the Sydney card. Wait, no, there's a fight night in England coming up. I don't know if he wants to go there, but there's a fight night in England coming up early next year. I think he'll do that. And I think Nicholas Dalby, he's the type of guy where he'll just throw down with you. It doesn't matter where he's fighting. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He's just going to throw down with you. It's going to be a tough fight. And we'll really see what Oban Elliott is made of. So I want to do this to test Oban Elliott, see how good he really is. Because I think he's a really good prospect. I think he's very good, has a lot of potential. Moving on, Tybor just beat Deniz. Deniz was a short notice opponent, supposed to fight Derek Lewis. Tybor steps in on short notice, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really want to give him Curtis Blades, just completely based off the fact that he doesn't deserve a huge step up for beating a short notice, non-ranked fighter. But no one else is booked that's above him. I don't want to see him fight Derek Lewis, because he's going to take Derek Lewis down. He already fought Taito Ivasa. I think Curtis Blades, his last fight was in, I want to say June or July in England against Tom Aspinall. I'm sure he wants to get back in there, prove himself again. And I think Tybor is kind of the perfect matchup to do it. They're both wrestlers. They're both good grapplers. And really, if Curtis Blades wants to come back, no one else in the top 10 is really free to come back. He's not going to fight Tom Aspinall in a rematch. Gane is booked. Volkov is booked. Gelton Almeida is booked. Sergey Spivak is booked. Like, all the potential matchups that he was looking at, Pavlovich is booked. I think Tybor is the only top 10 option, at least right now. So while I don't think that Tybor wants to jump up, or while I don't think he deserves to jump up, I think Curtis Blades will want to fight somewhere similar to him. And I think he'll... Curtis Blades isn't young. He's getting up there. He wants to probably just jump back right into the rankings and get a good win. I think he likes his chances against Tybor, especially after the last fight, where Tybor gassed out after a round. Granted, on short notice, but I think Curtis Blades will want this fight. Like I said, everybody else is booked. I don't want to give Tybor a jump up, but I kind of have to. Because Curtis Blades, he's the type of guy to just get back in there and restart where he was, trying to look for that belt. They'll probably do this, I want to say early next year, but I hope I get to see Curtis Blades soon, because I think Curtis Blades has a lot of potential to be something big. Well, I guess now while Tom Aspinall's the champion, but I think he has a lot of potential. He's a good matchup for a lot of people, but he's getting up there in age. He just needs to start fighting again, needs to stay consistent. I think the one thing he shouldn't do is take a long time off after getting knocked out by Tom Aspinall. I say you book him against Tybor. Tybor, like I said, he's coming off a really good one. So David Onama, he went to a decision with Roberto Romero, I believe his name is. Short notice guy. He's now 8-4 after the loss. But Onama looked good. Onama got knocked down the first round. He came back, won the second and third. Showed really good cardio. And I like Onama as a prospect. I mean, he's 30 years old, but I like him as a prospect. He's a good, fun striker. He can grapple. He's learning how to get his cardio right. I don't think he's ready for a ranked opponent yet, but I do think he's ready for Andre Philly, who's kind of right outside the rankings. Kind of, he had that thing where he fought like Dan Ige, and like other than that, not much. He's basically a guy that's been around a long time, good boxer, tough test for anybody. However, not really ranked level. I think David Onama, if he wins this, he's looking at a ranked shot, and I think this could be like a fight night co-main event. Like, they're both good strikers. Andre Philly's last fight took place. Damn, I don't even know. Maybe August. Yeah, maybe August. I don't know. But David Onama, Andre Philly, both good strikers. They can grapple kind of, but they're both fun. They put their heart on the line. They love fighting. This could be a really good fight of the night co-main event for like really some random ass fight night that's gonna come up soon. And I think David Onama, he just needs this huge test. He was supposed to get a test kind of in Almeida, but Almeida pulled out. I think Andre Philly, if David Onama wins this, we can match him up with like a I don't know, but we can match him up and really just see what happens, because this is a good one. This is Andre Philly's a guy that's given a lot of people problems. I believe his last fight was Cub Swanson. Before that, I think he got flatlined by Dan Ige in a brutal knockout. But I like David Onama's chances here. I think this would be a good fight. And similar schedules. Very similar schedules in my opinion. They both just fought 3 rounds pretty hard. But I think they'll do this early next year or mid, because these guys don't fight insanely often. Andre Philly more often than Onama, I think, at least. But if you just want a good fight, whoever wins this fight, really, I know I've been saying, Onama, if he wins, he gets a contender. I think whoever wins this fight should get a contender spot, or at least a chance at, like, top 15. Definitely not, like, 12 or something. Definitely just number 15, but this is a good fight outside of the rankings to just be like, okay, who's going to be next? You got to keep the rankings moving. If you don't, then that's how you kill a sport. Marcus McGee. I like Marcus McGee a lot. He beat my boy. He beat my boy Martinez, but I was right saying that Martinez has a confidence issue, mental problems, which he mentioned. Marcus McGee looked really good the first 2 rounds. I do, however, see some holes in his game. Like I said, he's a very wild guy. He's very strong. While he looks fundamentally sound, he throws with everything he has, and that can be a problem, especially when you're already 34. I'm pretty sure he's already 34. He started MMA very late. And I just think that, in all honesty, he needs to work on his cardio. But he does, he's ranked now. He does deserve someone better. He kind of, I don't want to say he destroyed Martinez on the stats in the first and second round. He destroyed Jonathan Martinez in the 3rd round. He almost lost a fight. His leg got chopped up very badly. Like I said, he gasses out. In my opinion, Martinez could have finished the fight. However, he just stalled for some reason. He's a retard, I guess, but I still like Martinez. That's my boy. I'll always root for him, but Marcus McGee, he looks like a really good prospect. And I matched him up against Mario Batista, because I want to see Mario Batista, just maybe a slight chance Mario Batista will get knocked out. I don't dislike Mario Batista as much as y'all do based off the Jose Aldo thing, but it's like, you gotta pay a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You gotta pay a little bit. My heart still hurts for Aldo. Someone's outside my house doing some random shit. Anyway, I like Marcus McGee's chances here, and I think despite what you may think about Mario Batista, he'll be forced to put on a little pressure. You know how Muhammad Makayev, Dana White was like, hey, you have a good fight here, or people are going to hate you, including me, and it's like, I think he'll have a little bit more pressure, put on a good fight, because Mario Batista, he can strike, he can box, and I think this would be a good boxing match, in all honesty. Like, Mario Batista, he was doing all right against Aldo when it came to boxing. Marcus McGee was boxing up Jonathan Martinez, And Marcus McGee, he's older, man. Like I said, he's around 34. I think he really just needs to step up in competition. I don't want to rush his career, but you can't really be a good prospect at 34 if we're not giving you higher up matches. I believe Mario Batista is number 12, 10. At first, I was thinking Mario Batista versus Song Yadong, but I like this matchup more in my opinion. And we need Marcus McGee to keep going. People like him. He has a fun style. We need to get as much fights on him as we can, but he'll probably take a little time off because I'm sure his leg is completely fucked after that third round. Rewatch the fight if you want. He was cooked with his leg. Mauricio Rufy versus Benoit Saint-Denis. He called out Benoit, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, look. Rufy, I mean, I don't know if he deserves, a contender spot. He beat James Lolentop on short notice, and it was a really close fight, mostly because James was just very tough. But Mauricio showed good striking. He showed why we like him. His cardio is a little weird, but he holds a lot of power. And if he wasn't fighting Lolentop, I think he knocked out a lot of people with those punches in his last fight. He called out Benoit. And I know some people are saying, oh, let's not give him contender yet. We don't think he's ready. While I don't know if he's ready, I think Benoit, after if he gets one bad loss, is one step away from getting fraud checked. And I think, I don't know if, Benoit was number 12. He got a shot against Dustin Poirier, right? He stayed number 12 because he lost the fight. He got a shot against Moicano, and Moicano destroyed him in the first round. 10-8, one of the worst first rounds I've ever seen. And it's like, he's one bad performance away from getting fraud checked, in my opinion. Even though I really like Moicano, I think Moicano is very good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for Benoit. So I think Benoit should fight Rufy. Two big names. People are still big on Benoit. He's still the God of War. He still puts on great fights. And Rufy has good striking. I don't know how good Rufy's grappling is, which is why I want to see Benoit. Benoit's an amazing grappler. He was destroying Dustin Poirier in the first round on grappling. I think this is a good fight between both names, and if Rufy wins, he's number 12 in the rankings. He's number 12 in the rankings. You can put him against good matchups like he did against Benoit. And if Benoit wins, he's still in the rankings. He's still in the rankings. If he comes off a good performance, he's back in there. He's still a huge name for France. They need more representatives, by the way. So he's still a huge name. And if he puts on a good performance, he'd just be a huge prospect, a really good prospect, who I don't think is amazing. However, his name's really big. A lot of people seem to like him. I want to see Rufy's grappling game get exposed. Or not really exposed. I want to see it explored a little bit, see how good it really is. And I think Benoit needs to defend his ranking. Just because his bad performances. I just think he needs to defend his ranking, so honestly, we'll see. I'm leaning Benoit here. But this could probably be a Fight Night main event if we really wanted to. It probably won't be just because Benoit, he's coming off 2 losses, and Rufy's been fighting niche competition, not great competition. I mean, he beat Jamie Malarkey, not great. He beat Lolentop on short notice, and Lolentop was taking a lot of shots. However, like I said, if he lands those shots on a lot of other people, they're probably going to get knocked out. So, I think this is a good fight to make. 2 good prospects, and I just want to see how good Rufy really is, how he can adapt to different styles, and I want to see if Benoit still has it. I want to see if we were right about Benoit being the future of the division, and I want to see if he can still hang with these top-ranked guys, and if it wasn't a fluke. So I think just Benoit needs to prove himself. Bo Nickel, good performance. Okay, look. Good performance against Paul Craig. Boring, yes. But Paul Craig's a tricky matchup. Paul Craig had the physique advantage. He had the grappling advantage. His boxing's not great, but his kicks are very good. No, they're not. They're not. His kicks are really useful because he's about 6'5". And honestly, like I said, Bo Nickel, if he took him down, there's a chance Paul Craig could have better jiu-jitsu than him. And that's really Paul Craig's specialty, right? So it's 2 guys who are not using their specialty, and they're just striking. his two grapplers just striking, so it wasn't a bad performance in my opinion. But I think the next move for him is Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira literally just got fraud checked by Fluffy Hernandez. I predicted. I thought it was a really easy prediction. This guy has no cardio. And despite what people think, oh, his grappling's good. His grappling's good, his wrestling's not. I mean, if he can't beat Bo Nickel, man. Like, Michel Pereira just got fraud checked, like I said. But he's still number 15. Bo Nickel, while he doesn't have many fights, while I believe he's only like 29, he needs to speed up his career. He's going to lose a lot of hype. That performance against Paul Craig, he lost a lot of hype. The whole arena was literally chanting overrated to him during the fight. If you want to bring your career some spotlight, if you want to be like, okay, I got to revive everything I have, you got to fight number 15, Michel Pereira. People think he's tough. I never really thought so. He just has a lot of first round finishes. People think he's tough. His grappling's kind of weak. I think Bo Nickel could have a good performance against Michel Pereira, or he could get finished and we realize he's not as good as we really thought he was. This is a really risky fight. It's either you rush your career and you get all your hype back, or you lose this fight and you lose more hype but still have fans. And I think he's losing fans, he's losing hype right now. He needs to just go back in there fast, not too fast, but he needs to go back in there fast and prove why he has a name value, prove why he was the featured fight on an MSG card, you know what I'm saying? Shara doesn't have to speed up because Shara is getting impressive performances with knockouts and stuff. Bo Nickel, I mean, you went to the second round of Cody Brundage. I know it's not that bad, but Paul Craig almost beat you while standing. It wasn't even like a grappling match. While standing, Paul Craig almost beat you. It's like, you got to regain some of your hype. People don't think Paul Craig is that good. I think he's pretty good, but I mean, in all honesty, man, Paul Craig easily could have won that fight. I had a 1-1 going into the third, and the third was kind of iffy. I thought Bo Nickel won 2-1, but like the third's kind of iffy. You can argue with that, and that's never a good sign for a prospect when you can argue with Paul Craig. But we've seen prospects regain their hype. Ankalaev, Jamal Hill, I believe Krylov. We've seen them regain their hype after beating Paul Craig, and the way they do that is they turn around, they fight a bigger guy, a better guy, and they regain all that hype. I think Bo Nickel has to do that, but I also think Bo Nickel has a lot more pressure than these other people like Jamal Hill and Ankalaev at that time. I think Bo Nickel has a lot more pressure on him, and he has to have this immediate step up. So I just think it's probably the best matchup for Bo Nickel, and I think it's something they'll offer only because Michel Pereira, no one's really big on him anymore. No, like I said, I was never that big on him, but now people are officially not that big on him. But we're moving on. Michael Chandler, he called out Max Holloway. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. He called out Conor McGregor. I don't think Conor wants to fight him after Conor said that ever since Michael Chandler rescheduled a fight against Charles Oliveira, that he felt disrespected and that he's not interested in Chandler anymore. And I thought Chandler was done with Conor, but apparently not. Basically, he's not going to Max Holloway fight because Max Holloway is probably going to fight way up. Michael Chandler is coming off like 2 to 3 losses, and he's number 8. They're not going to give him that fight because that does nothing for Holloway at all. So it's like, who do you want to give him? You want to just put him in exciting fights, right? Well, you don't put him against Conor. That's not going to be an exciting fight. Michael Chandler will probably just wrestle the fuck out of Conor. Right? Like, you don't want to do that. So, and there's no guarantee Conor will even come back. So, I think Chandler, you got to stay decently active. No 3-year layoff. You're old as hell already. No 3-year layoff. And I think you do that against Dan Hooker in Australia. There's an Australia card in February. I think you make a quick turnaround. Despite you losing pretty dominantly to Charles Oliveira, I don't think you took insane damage. You didn't really get cut horribly. You didn't break anything, I don't think. There's no torn ligaments. I don't think there's anything serious. And I think if he did get injured, he'll probably be fine in February. And I think Dan Hooker, last time he fought was against Gamrot, maybe My phone fell. Maybe in like, I don't know actually. I really don't know. I want to say it was the Adesanya card? No, the Adesanya card sucked ass. Whatever card, maybe like 303, 306. I want to say he fought 303 or 306. I don't know why those are the only options for me. But I just think he needs to come back soon. Dan Hooker, Dan Hooker's older. He's a veteran. He's going to come back. One of the main targets for that Australia card is going to be Dan Hooker. I think we do Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler too. Dan Hooker has evolved his game. You remember when Dan Hooker used to be like a really technical striker? He would keep his distance, jab up, leg kicks. Nah, that's not what we got against Gamrot. When Dan Hooker needs the win, when Dan Hooker is like, okay, I don't want to lose this, he goes all out war. Michael Chandler will never be a champion. Let's just keep that in mind. Maybe a top contender, he'll never be a champion. And I think we have to just settle with that and put him in the fun matchups. I think Dan Hooker, number 5 right now after beating Gamrot. Michael Chandler, number 8. Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler. This is an absolute firefight. It puts Michael Chandler back into relevancy if he wins. And Dan Hooker, if he wins, let's see, like, maybe the loser of Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. I think that'd be a great fight. And in all honesty, I think I want to see this. Because while I do think Jalen Turner, in my opinion, beat Dan Hooker, and I think Gamrot beat Dan Hooker, and I think Dan Hooker is kind of getting lucky on these decisions, he needs to prove himself in a real test where it's not a close fight, or it's not you won, but it's arguable you lost, right? I feel like that's been a lot of Dan Hooker fights recently. And I don't care if he loses this, because it's a big name, big fight. Please don't be a Coleman. I'm sorry, I don't want to see, in my personal opinion, unless it's in the Australia card, I don't want to see Michael Chandler in a co-main event. I want to see him like a fight night main event or like a featured fight. I think he put this fight on the Australia card. Maybe this, in the co-mains like Jack Della versus like Usman, and then you have a title fight, and it's probably gonna be like Drickus. I think this would be a really good feature fight. Maybe kick off the main card, but I doubt it just because they're huge names. This will just be a firefight. This will just be boxing going all out. And it's a good way to really see how far Dan Hooker's come. That sounds horrible, but he got knocked out easily by Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler had one of the best debuts ever against him. I think Dan Hooker, he's a petty motherfucker, right? If he wants his get back, he'll look for a way to get his get back. And I think they'll offer this fight. Just because it's like a revenge. And Michael Chandler, I need to see you against like a top guy. I don't want you fighting like, for example, Benoit. I don't want you fighting a guy on the level of Benoit, and then automatically you're back in relevancy. I need you to fight a tough contender, so you can stay relevant. Dan Hooker, like I said, I think he lost his last 2 fights, arguably, but I mean, this is just fun. Like it's just a fun fight, man. I don't think anyone's gonna be mad about this booking. But Charles Oliveira, the guy who destroyed Michael Chandler, who got eye poked and hit in the back of the head multiple times. Michael Chandler's a very, very dirty fighter, but the only reason I put Islam here is because I think in January they're gonna do Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan, and I wasn't gonna put both of them here, so Islam just stands for the winner of Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev. And honestly, I think Oliveira deserves it. I know people are saying, "Oh, Max Holloway," right? Like fight a Max Holloway. Who's another top contender? Basically, just you need one more fight, and I'm like, okay, let's just give Oliveira like the title shot, because at least after Arman Makhachev, purely based on the fact that he's injured. He came into the Michael Chandler fight with an injury. He took a lot of damage, back of the head shots like 20 times, almost got knocked out. He really took a lot of damage. I think he'll need a little bit of time off. But let's remember, right? In the last 3 fights, he beat Beneil Dariush pretty dominantly. Good head kick TKO. Very, One of the closest lightweight fights I've ever seen against Arman Tsarukyan. Really, anybody could have won that fight. And honestly, I think, while I do think Arman won, it was purely based on output. If that was a 5-round fight, I'd probably give that to Oliveira. I think that was a good performance. And Arman Tsarukyan, he's the number one guy. He's the number one guy. He's guaranteed fighting Islam Makhachev next. It's like, I can't think of a better guy to have like a very, very close decision to, unless the actual champion, obviously. But having a very, very close decision to Arman Tsarukyan, that's probably the best loss you can have right now. And he just destroyed Michael Chandler. So a win, a good win, a very close fight with the number one contender, and another dominant win against Michael Chandler. That's really good in my opinion. That's enough for a title shot, at least after the number one contender gets a title shot, which I think Arman will probably win. But I don't see him fighting Max Holloway. I really don't see him fighting Max Holloway. I don't think Max Holloway... Okay, hear me out. I don't think Max Holloway really deserves a Charles Oliveira when he comes up here. I think he'll fight maybe like... He could fight Conor on his return, but I doubt it. I wouldn't mind a Max Holloway versus Chandler either, to be honest with you, though. I really wouldn't mind that. But I can't see Oliveira fighting anyone else, in all honesty. Like, he's not going to fight Justin Gaethje again. He's not going to fight Poirier. It's like, he's ran through a division already, besides Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. Who else do you give him? Like, he deserves, in my opinion, like, he was already scheduled to have a rematch against Islam Makhachev. That didn't go through. And are we just, like, gonna ignore that? Like, he's on a really good streak of fights, even though he's lost his last, or the one before his last one. He's on a good streak of fights, in my opinion. And he's clearly deserved. He wants a rebooking. He showed that he wants a rebooking with the champion, and I think he deserves it, in my opinion. I just don't see him fighting Max Holloway, in all honesty. Or you could do Max Holloway versus Dan Hooker. That'd be a pretty good fight. And for the main event, I'm going to explain this as unbiased as I can, because if you watched my videos before, you know I think Jon Jones is a disgrace to MMA. But I'm going to keep this as unbiased, and I'm going to point out some actual just facts or opinions, but just nothing crazy. There's no one else. There's no one else, Jon Jones. Like, and the reason I'm okay with the Pereira matchup, but I think it should be Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, and the winner of that fights Jon Jones. I don't know if that was loud or not. I accidentally hit my mic. But I think it should be Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, and the winner of that fights Jon Jones. But if it's not that, then it's Tom Aspinall gets a title shot. Pereira, I understand, you have legacy. You have 2 belts, or you had 2 belts at a different time. You're on, like, your second, third title defense. It's like, I understand your legacy. I understand all that. You can't have 2 champions in a division. You just can't. You can while the champion's injured, but you can't have 2 champions in one division simultaneously defending both their belts. Like, it's just not great for the UFC, because there's always going to be that question, oh, who's better? You know, there's always going to be that question, oh, well, you know, Jon Jones, he's good, but this Tom Aspinall guy, he's fighting better people. When there's 2 champions in a division, that means you need 2 championship fights. So, let's say there's a clear number 1 contender, right? Besides Tom Aspinall, let's say there's a clear number 1 contender. Who does he fight? Does he fight Tom Aspinall or Jon Jones? And then do you get the number 2 contender to fight Tom Aspinall? It's like, what happens there? You need 2 matchups per year at heavyweight champions. And it's like, the contenders, you're just going to need... In total, the booking's going to slow down. Because the only reason you can have a number 1 contender fight... Let's say Cyril Gane versus Volkov is a number 1 contender fight, right? Who does the winner of that fight? Aspinall or Jon Jones? You know Jon Jones isn't going to take that fight. So does he fight Aspinall, and Aspinall has 2 title defenses? Like, while John Jones has won, it's like, I don't think you can have your interim champion having the same amount of title defenses as your real champion. And I think the real champion is Tom Aspinall, but I'm just using actual, like, factual statements here. I don't think you can have the number one contender fighting an interim champion. It doesn't make sense to me that the interim champion's already the number one contender. It's just you can't have two champs. You can't have two champs in the division. It doesn't work out. The booking on heavyweight is going to slow down. Heavyweight's going to end up being stalled because of John Jones. If John Jones really wants to fight Pereira like he says he is, and he's already mentioned this, you vacate the title, you move on from the division, you go back down to light heavyweight, and you fight for his title. There's no, oh, I have an interim champion, but I want to fight a different guy. You can't have two champions in a division. And my other argument is, when you're a heavyweight, what are you going to, like, there's no, super fights are great at heavyweight, right? But there's no going down, really. And what I mean by that is, like, how would you feel if Stipe Miocic, as the heavyweight champion, this was back when, told DC, I'm going to go down and I'm going to fight for your belt? I know, I think TJ Dillashaw did that, but it's like, you know, it's just, it's weird. It doesn't come off the same way as the light heavyweight champion be like, I'm going to go up and fight you. It's just weird. So you can't have John Jones, the heavyweight champion, being like, oh, I'm going to go down and fight the light heavyweight champion. It's like you're a weight bully, kind of. It's just, it's not really looked at the same way. It's kind of looked down upon. If it wasn't the lighter guy coming up. It's like, imagine Islam Makhachev says, okay, I want to go down and I want to fight Alexander Volkanovski. It's like, okay, but we all praise Volkanovski for saying, I want to go up and fight Islam Makhachev. You know, it's just different. It really is just different. Tom Aspinall, he can't do anything. The only thing Tom Aspinall can do now to prove that he deserves the number one, or I guess the title shot, is beat Pereira. That's the only thing he can do now. People are saying, oh, Tom Aspinall just has to prove himself. He has to do a little more. He's defended his title. As an interim champion, you are guaranteed the title shot next as soon as the champion comes back. There's no, oh, you're the interim champion, you need 2 title shots, or you need 2 title defenses. Tom Aspinall would have more title defenses as their interim champion than John Jones. It's just, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. People are already, and I think the reason UFC will do Tom Aspinall versus John Jones is because they're already promoting it. The morning after the John Jones fights, they showed Tom Aspinall's reactions, and they showed, who do you think wants to fight next? They did, you know, the little matchmaking post they do? Tom Aspinall was the number one answer in all of them, besides the John Jones Glazers, who are like, oh, well, Tom Aspinall hasn't done anything, when in all reality, Tom Aspinall has done more at heavyweight than John Jones has. Factual. Tom Aspinall has done more than John Jones has when John Jones first got his title shot against Shogun Rua. Factual. It's like he can't really do much more besides fight Alex Pereira, but you want Alex Pereira to fight John Jones. So what can Tom Aspinall do? It's like you're kind of disproving your point while you're doing it, you know? It's like, oh, you know, Tom Aspinall's not proving himself. You know, he can only fight Alex Pereira. It's like, okay, well, let's do that. And they're like, oh, no, but I want John Jones to fight Alex Pereira. It's like, what do you want? You can't have... I mean, I understand, you know, make him fight the winner of Gon Volkov, but only do that if he's a unified champion. John Jones is not an undisputed champion because there's another belt that is disputing it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't call John Jones the undisputed champion because he's not. And you can't really call Tom Aspinall not the undisputed champion. It's like you can't have two belts in one weight class and keep it consistently. John Jones' legacy will forever be frowned upon. I already frowned upon it. You know, he's already on PEDs. It doesn't matter. But like I said, I'm trying to stay non-biased here. John Jones' legacy is already frowned upon a little bit from PEDs. He's a very fragile legacy if you really look into it. And this will just make it even worse. Like I said, John Jones, if you really want to fight Pereira, if you genuinely believe Pereira will give you more legacy, vacate the belt. You said you're final fit, and fuck it, I'm final fit too. Do the right thing. if you don't want to keep fighting at heavyweight, if you don't want to fight your interim champion, give the belt away and let the division go on. Yuri Prochazka did that. Yuri Prochazka, he got an injury immediately. As soon as he said he's going to be out for a year, he gave the belt away. Jamal Hill vacates the belt immediately. You know what I'm saying? It's like, these people want to see the division go on. You can't hold up a division with 2 champions, because who's the real one? You know what I'm saying? Dana White's going to be like, in a promotion for John Jones, he's going to be like, oh, John Jones, the undisputed champion. But yet, Tom Aspinall has another belt saying that he's disputing it. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. Whether you think Tom Aspinall is like going to get destroyed by John Jones, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think he's going to get destroyed by John Jones. The factual matter is, he's the interim champion. We've never done this where we've said, okay, interim champion, you don't have to you don't get the shot. You got to defend your title twice before you have your chance against the actual champion. It's like, we've never done that. Why are we doing it now? Are we doing it because it's John Jones now? It's like, it's just not how it works. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, Tom Aspinall's belt is worth more value than John Jones' belt, because we know Pavlovich, on the run that he was at, even Cyril Gane was ducking Pavlovich. Tom Aspinall comes in there like a week's notice on the card that John Jones pulled out, by the way. Tom Aspinall comes in, fills the shoes, and he beats Pavlovich when everybody was ducking him on short notice. Tom Aspinall has the same amount of title defenses as John Jones, and if we say, okay, Tom Aspinall, you had to fight Cyril Gane or Volkov, then he's going to have more title defenses than John Jones. And if John Jones fights Pereira, then it's just even. It's like, you can't have 2 champs. I know I just explained that, and I know it's just yapping the whole time. I'm not going to lie, I was just yapping the whole time, making the same exact statement over and over again. But it's like, that's just how it is. We're going to always have that question of, is Tom Aspinall the best in the world or John Jones? We never know, because they'll never fight. But there's already that question, is Francis Ngannou the best in the world? So while John Jones isn't even looked at as the most dangerous heavyweight in the world, there's 2 people. There's a guy outside the UFC, Francis. Look, you can get away with saying John Jones is better than Francis. You can get away with that because John Jones and Francis aren't in the same organization. You can't get away with having 2 champions in the same organization. It just doesn't work. And I think Tom Aspinall, honestly, he just posted something a little bit ago, by the way, saying that it's a done deal. We're looking to see where. I'm guessing that's a John Jones fight. However, I don't know, man. I'm starting to think it was just a marketing scheme from John Jones. And if it is, I have respect for you. If you're not actually ducking him, I have a lot more respect for you. I don't respect you in general because, like I said, you've done horrible shit. But I'll have a lot more respect for you if you're not ducking Tom Aspinall and you just fight him. And UFC likes this idea. Dana White said, I'm never going to book the Alex Pereira matchup versus John Jones if they don't both want it. Which, in my opinion, I'm like, that's cool. That's great. But they both want it. So, like, that's kind of the problem here. We're going to have 2 champions. But Dana White, we know he doesn't keep his word. He doesn't keep his word. He don't give a fuck about that Alex Pereira fight because he knows John Jones is just going to take down Alex Pereira and fuck him up. It's like, he don't give a fuck about that fight. Even Dana White knows Tom Aspinall's next. He's been saying it for the past year. Tom Aspinall will fight the winner of John Jones versus Stipe. And I think Tom Aspinall and Dana White, they both understand, you're the new blood. You're the new guy. Win or lose to John Jones, you will most likely be champion at the end of at least one point in your career. Right? So I think they have a good bond. They're already promoting the fight, basically. They're basically promoting the fight. Like I said, they're posting Tom Aspinall reactions everywhere. They're getting tons of views. And Dana White said he'll pay John Jones the extra money to fight Tom Aspinall. Dana White said that, even though John Jones is making 10 mil. John Jones making I think he made about 10 mil, he said, 10 to 13 mil from that Stipe fight. that's pretty good money to fight Tom Aspinall, man, in my opinion. But he just needs more. I think the UFC likes the idea of Tom Aspinall, John Jones. Pereira needs to beat Ankalaev. In my opinion, Pereira needs to beat Ankalaev, and then I'm okay with him moving up completely. I think everybody's okay with him moving up if he beats Ankalaev, because it's the only number one contender in his division. Both of these guys have a number one contender. Let's not hold up two divisions for a fight that might take place in like 9 months to a year. You know what I'm saying? John Jones, he doesn't fight very often, so let's not hold up two divisions in that meantime. Let's just get this shit out the way, and we can look at bigger plans. Because in my opinion, Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira is a bigger fight than John Jones versus Alex Pereira. You know John Jones is going to take him down. You know it. You fucking know it. Somewhere, these John Jones fans, they have to know John Jones is just going to take him down. And that's why they want the fight. While Aspinall did say he's going to take down Alex Pereira, I don't believe that. I don't think you believe that either. I mean, look at both these guys' resumes. They're going to fight. They're going to fucking fight. But, yeah, this is definitely the move to make next, in my opinion. This is really the end of the video. There's no points for me to discuss here. I just want to say like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I will be making a video and I'll be streaming on Thursday. Not tomorrow, it's my mom's birthday. I gotta be there, you know what I'm saying, obviously. And, I hope to see y'all sometime. Hopefully Thursday when I stream, and hopefully Saturday when I stream the Peter Yan fights. And rule my sleep schedule. But, yeah, I appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching.